Okay, the weather's not brilliant in the UK right now, but that's not going to dampen my spirits because today I'm off to pick up the new iPad Pro and MagicKeyboard. Later on in this video I will unbox it and give you my initial impressions. Okay, next up, Apple Store. Hope I don't need that. Yep, I'm back. I'm really excited. I rushed home as quick as I could so I can get these things unboxed and show you what they're like. Do a little bit of kind of initial thoughts about them. I want to say from the off, guys, I am an Apple fan. I do love pretty much most of their products. I own an Apple Watch. I've got an Apple phone, which is recording here and recording here. I've got an Apple iPad mini, I've got an iPad Pro, my kids have all got iPads. Look, I'm probably pretty much a complete seller when it comes to Apple stuff. I do acknowledge they do some things wrong at times, and they do have some, I could say some negative things about them, but more often than not, I'm gonna think they're brilliant. You're gonna have to forgive my excitement as I dig into this thing here. Okay, so what do we get? Well, obviously I got the MagicKeyboard. There you go. Look forward to see what that is like there. And obviously I got the iPad Pro, and I got the iPad Pro 12-inch. So as you should all know by now, this thing is pretty powerful. It's got the M4 chip in it, which it's just bypassed the M3 chip completely. So at the present moment in time, this thing has got the most powerful chip in any Apple product. My previous iPad, now let me try and get that for you. This is the iPad Pro 12.9-inch, and it's the M1 edition. So I'm kind of jumping from the M1 to the M4. I skipped the M2 altogether, and we're going to compare these as well when I kind of get round to it, and we'll see. You know, look at the size and everything. I'll take this case off that I've got on here just so the comparison will be fairer. All right, okay. What do we do? Well, let's do the. Let's be different and not start with the other thing, because I think that's a really exciting thing as well. Let's start with this, the iPad Pro. Now, I got the iPad Pro 13-inch, so it's no longer 12.9-inch, it's 13-inch. I got the 512 gigabyte edition because I looked at what I was using on here, and I do all my I do everything on here. It's my daily driver. I don't have a laptop, I don't have a desktop. I use my iPad for everything, and I use it for video editing using LumaFusion as well, and it's pretty powerful. But because LumaFusion supports working off an external SSD, barely anything is actually stored on this device, and I'm so surprised. I actually use about 200 and some gigabytes actually is on the device. Everything else is on my SSDs. So I thought, well, I don't need a terabyte, which this is a terabyte. I'm using nowhere near that. So when I got this, I thought, well, I don't need a terabyte. I just need a 512. That will do. In my excitement of buying it, only then after did I realise, after watching some videos about the iPad, right, it's only come with 8 gig of RAM. The 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte editions of the iPad come with 16 gigabytes of RAM. So we will see whether this has any issues in terms of handling video editing over the next couple of weeks, and within the next couple of weeks I can take it back to Apple and I can exchange it and upgrade it, spend $500 more or 500 quid more for the more expensive edition, the 1 terabyte, if I need it. But apparently this thing has got something called dynamic caching, dynamic cache, I don't know how you'd say that, which is different to previous processors. They only could handle static cache. Let me just check and see what the. Yeah, he explained it to me in the shop, but I didn't quite understand what he was saying. Dynamic caching M4. Okay, here's what Apple says on their website. The new 10-core GPU of M4 builds upon the next generation graphics architecture of the M3 family chip. It features dynamic caching, an Apple innovation that allocates a local memory dynamically in hardware and in real time to dramatically increase the average utilization of the GPU. This significantly increased the demand for increased performance for the most demanding pro apps and games. So the guy in the shop suggested that the dynamic caching might mean that I don't need 16 gigabytes of RAM. This should be able to handle most reasonably simple video editing stuff. I mean, it's kind of B-roll, it's to camera, stuff like that. So I'm not doing anything massively that's going to massively push the system. So hopefully 8 gig will do, and I won't need to spend an extra 500 quid. Okay, all that rambling over. Let's do this. Okay, put over there. First thing I want to notice is it obviously slimmer than my iPad M1 edition? So I'm going to get that out and I'm going to put that here. Right. Wow. Initial impression is that, yeah, notably slimmer. Oh my goodness. Wow, I don't know if you can really pick it up on the camera there because it's focusing in on my face. Where's the camera? There you go. Yeah, it's noticeably thinner. I don't know what this is. I'll put it on screen what millimeters this is, but this I think is 5.1 millimeters. Yeah, there we go. So barely big enough to fit the USB-C port on it. Actually, there we go. Okay, and yeah, it's lighter, and put on screen what the difference is in grams there. So there we go. So yes, that is an amazing bit of kit. It's just ridiculously thin. The question is, would I have appreciated more battery and just kept the thickness of that? Because I think Apple are saying this has still got 10 hours battery. Okay, one thing I'm noticing straight off the bat there, you're not going to be able to see it probably, but the camera is where it should have been for a few generations now, right in the middle there rather than at the side, which made for awkward Zoom conversations. Okay, do you get anything else in the box? Because apparently I've heard rumours. No more stickers. There is one cable, USB-C to USB-C, and it is braided. There we go. I mean, I've got plenty of really, really good USB-C cables, and I bought through from a company called Ahio. Anyway, I've done a few videos about those. I'll put them in the description, maybe at the end of this video, but they'll be on the screen somewhere. They're really great data cables and power cables as well. But nice to see that it's got a decent looking cable, decent feeling cable in the box. Has it really got no stickers? Is that what we're saying? So we've got all the usual gumph here. iPad Pro, kind of simple thing of how to use it. There you go. They could have even done away with all this bump, surely. They could have just given you a QR code and said, go look at it in your own language. Wouldn't that have helped them with their green credentials? Maybe they're legally obliged to put all this stuff in. I can't do that. I'm going to put that up there. All right, okay, so that's it. That's what you get in the box. But I mean, what a powerful thing this is that you get in the box. All right, okay, we'll bob that one there, and then we will now crack out the MagicKeyboard. I'll be interested to see how much heavier this will feel, because it does need quite a bit of weight to keep the iPad upright, but with this, thinner, lighter, I imagine I don't need to make this as heavy. And okay, so they kept that kind of rubbery feel to it, but the hinge is different compared to this here. So that's been modelled quite a bit differently. Is that going to affect the angle of this thing? Okay, let's Over there. Anything in here? Just the usual paperwork. All right, okay. Obviously, with this as well, we have got a row. Can you see on the screen there? I'm trying to look up here. We've got the function keys, which were missing from the older Magic Keyboard. There we go. Compare the two there. And obviously, the thing you'll be able to see as well is it's got a much bigger trackpad than this thing. There we are. That feels the same. Keys feel pretty much the same. Obviously this is metal, whereas this is kind of like a rubbery feel to it. This is definitely metal, and you've got a much bigger touchpad. All right, okay. It's so much more satisfying to have that extra real estate on there. I don't think I need it to be that much bigger. I understand on the MacBooks it's a lot bigger, but you know what, that's fine. I mean, I've kind of got used to this little thing over here, so this is absolutely super. I love the fact that it is kind of a aluminium or aluminum finish to it rather than this rubbery finish. It does make it feel a lot more premium, and apparently it's got haptic feedback rather than an actual click, so I can feel that. That's okay. What was it weigh? Let me just get the scales. So I've got my scales here. That's just some official weighing on here. So that one is coming up together 1.594. And more about this one here. 1.721 kilos. So 200 grams different between this and this. Yeah, that should feel significantly different when you're carrying it around in your bag. I don't know if you can see this. There seems to be, I don't know whether that's, say, greater or less. The angle seems to be about the same as well. If you look at this compared to this, okay, yeah, you can see. Look, hopefully you can see on this picture here, on this video here. There's a lot more here and here. Obviously, they've squeezed in the function row keys here. It's the same size, but yeah, they've done something to this design here. Maybe that helps with the balance as well, having that difference there. Don't know. No, that's really interesting. Anyway, oh man, when I'm picking this up, it's so thin. It's so nice to hold, and this is so nice to have. And obviously, it's got the USB-C charging thing here. Listen, do you know what? It's definitely an improvement, and in the coming videos, I will see whether it's an actual improvement when it comes to power. Obviously, a lot of the argument is, oh, you've got iPad OS on there, which is letting down the powerhouse, the power that is in the new iPad with the M4 chip. I get that, I totally get that. We'll see what happens at WWDC and see what kind of AI stuff they introduce, see whether they do anything more to some of the apps that they have, make them more pro. I like the fact they've got the Final Cut Pro app being updated, and you've got this Final Cut Pro camera app being introduced. Maybe we can finally have, because I've always wanted to be able to use my iPad as a monitor from what I'm filming here, so maybe and hopefully that will be introduced in that, through that kind of combination of the Final Cut Pro app and Final Cut Pro. I usually generally use LumaFusion for my video editing, but maybe I'll go to Final Cut Pro because now they've added apparently external SSD support. So I will go into some more detail about software and all that kind of stuff, but today was just about getting this thing unboxed, seeing how it looked. Interestingly, got rid of a camera, which I barely use, and I think in the video they used this kind of primarily for kind of scanning documents and things like that, which is all that I've ever used it for, if I've ever used it at all. Okay, all right, so I'm going to have a really good play with this, and in the coming days and weeks I will present more information about the actual device itself, and then obviously when WWDC comes about, we'll see what the software iOS 8, iPad 8, iPad OS 18. We'll see what that looks like and how it performs on here, but really nice to have. Love it. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to enjoy using my new iPad. In the meantime, until those other videos come out, why don't you check this one out here, where I talk about the iPad Mini, which I still think is a very relevant machine, even in 2024. Okay, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey.